Hello, I'm Steven,
And I'm Aaron.
and these are some of the films we saw in 2025 that we did not get a chance to talk about for one reason or another. Okay, so Wolfman. This one was released way back in January, and I did not really want to see it. I was pretty cynical about the prospect of another Wolfman remake. It just seemed like another thing they were churning out because it's a familiar IP. The one intriguing thing about it is that it was written and directed by Lee Wanell, who did Invisible Man, which
Invisible
we both
Man.
liked.
Yeah.
I guess our opinion on this is going to be considered the L take because we liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was like pretty entertaining while we were watching it. I didn't think it was really doing anything like new really with the genre or with the property like the Invisible Man did. Um, but it's well acted enough. It's got that kind of low budget, vibe to it. They didn't try to do a whole lot with it. But I like the character dynamics. I liked where they went with it.
Yeah,
Um,
this one was about this guy named Blake, who is a family man. He has a good relationship with his daughter, but a rocky relationship with his wife. One day, his estranged father dies, and he inherits the family cabin, and he takes his family out on a little vacation to try to rekindle his basically lost love in his marriage to Julia Garner. And unfortunately, a monkey wrench is thrown into that plan when he becomes a werewolf.
Yeah, I don't think there's really too much else to say about it. I think probably the biggest thing the movie has going for it is Julia Garner and what's his name, Christopher Abbott.
Yes.
He's pretty good as well.
Yeah, I love Julia Garner. She's becoming one of my favorite modern young talents out there. And Christopher Abbott is a naturally sympathetic guy because of those big glassy eyes that he has.
He's got a very sympathetic face.
Yeah, he's instantly somebody you can get behind.
Yeah, something I would say is that it did come out like way at the beginning of the year, so there is a lot that I don't remember about it. But I do think I remember like something being cool in the movie, like something about the language, the degradation of his language, and the way they communicate to each other.
Mm,
I remember being kind of interesting in the movie.
yeah, there was a pretty predictable twist. If
Yeah,
it was even meant to be a twist, I wasn't sure about that. That happens towards the end of the movie. But regardless of that, I didn't think it was as bad as the masses made it out to be, but it's also not exactly a masterpiece.
yeah.
But who expected that?
I don't think it's something I'll be rewatching anytime soon. But I didn't dislike it when I was watching it. I just don't think it really kind of left any impact.
So, what was your final number grade on a scale of 1 to 10?
That one I probably gave like a 7 or 8 to.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8. I enjoyed it. Okay, Sisu 2, Road to Revenge. In this film, the main character, Tommy Corpy, if that's how his name is pronounced, he dismantles his house, packs it up on a truck, and tries to relocate it to a safer location. But the man who killed his family comes back to basically finish the job. So the whole movie is this one long Fury Road style action chase. You and I hated the first one.
I didn't hate the first one, but I didn't like it. I thought it was a little over the top for how straight it played things, and it like really dragged in places it didn't need to.
Yeah, okay, well, I hated it. I thought it was absolute bullshit. There were no stakes to it because the man can't be killed. I found the villains very boring and
Yeah,
uncaptivating, and it was impossible to get invested in because, like I said, there's no stakes. If there's no threat, then there's nothing really to care about. And it was playing it way too straight, I think, and way too self serious. That ain't the case with this one, which I actually liked. This movie does the right thing and says, okay, we're just gonna get rid of any semblance of self
yeah,
seriousness about this.
realism or
This is a cartoon now.
yeah, yeah. The way I kind of have it summed up here is that it's more Sisu, but it's a tighter movie. It's more focused. It's completely outrageous. They go like all in on the over the top nature of like that the first one kind of dabbled in. Like if you've ever wanted to see a man front flip a tank, um, or rocket down a railroad with a train car with a missile, then this is your movie. I liked this one a lot more than I did the first one because it's like, as they say, all killer no filler. This one got straight to the point, and the way his house became a tool for him to use throughout the movie was kind of interesting. And like you said, the first one you have nothing to care about. Here it's like he just wants to build his house. He wants to move his house back where he belongs.
Yeah, this felt like just a much more honest film than the first one. I can get behind this one. I had fun. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it the same.
The Phoenician Scheme. You either love or you hate Wes Anderson, like really love or really hate the man. You and I both love the dude, but I haven't loved one of his movies since probably Grand Budapest in 2014. I liked Isle of Dogs. I liked Asteroid City. I didn't really care for the French Dispatch. This was a step in the right direction. This was closer to what I want more out of Wes, which is I want a movie that has a heart, and I don't think that the French Dispatch really had that. And I think that Asteroid City had a pretty powerful ending, but was kind of shaky on the emotional core throughout the whole of the piece.
I liked the French Dispatch. I really liked Asteroid City a lot. More than you did, I think.
Yeah, although
Uh,
we both like that one.
yeah, Phoenician Scheme. I don't think I liked as much as Asteroid City, but I definitely didn't like it as much as that one. But I did enjoy it. The problem kind of with this movie, you are right. It does have more of a heart than some of his recent outings. But I think it's kind of like undercooked in the character development department. The plot is like really convoluted and speedy and hard to follow at times.
Yeah, I this thing is really difficult to explain, so I wouldn't usually do this, but I lifted this right off of Reddit. The general plot is that Benicio del Toro is a wealthy, unscrupulous businessman that has set up the deal of the century called the Phoenician Scheme. This is a multifaceted plan to develop the nation of Phoenician with water, rail, and power infrastructure, which, if successful, will net him a lifetime worth of money, i.e., his biggest business deal yet. Thank you, Emily27 on Reddit. It's a really convoluted, intricate plan, and I have no sense of business savvy, so I
Yeah.
could not explain it if I tried.
The best thing that I could have said was that he's going around
Trying to procure
the
money.
world trying to get money from a bunch of like
Investors, I
wealthy
guess.
investors or benefactors, and he's like it's a whole scheme that he's doing to try to amass even more wealth because he's known as like a con man all around the world and a charlatan.
Yes, the meat of the story comes in the form of him basically trying to save his soul because many attempts are made on his life throughout the movie, which is a consistently funny running joke. But every time it happens, he has a new vision where he's talking to God.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that works about this. That is where the heart comes from. It's this wealthy businessman who should have like no redeeming qualities about him, kind of slowly starting to realize throughout the movie the things that are actually important.
Yes. And that's what I think this one has over Wes's other recent film is that I feel like the main character, whose name is Zsa Zsa Corda, by the way, I feel like he's a more fully realized character with a
Uh,
fuller
it helps
arc.
that he's played by Benicio del Toro as well.
And yeah, the Benicio is killing it.
Yeah.
So is Michael Sarah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Michael Cera to me was kind of the standout of the movie. I really liked him a lot. I love the accent that he's doing and the multiple kind of characters that he's playing. It's not something that I expected out of him. I really haven't seen anything that he's been in probably since Superbad, so it was kind of surprising to see him in this capacity. But the thing that kind of props it up, like you said, like the character journey for the main character, this is probably his funniest movie in a while, I would say.
Yeah.
He's like in full West mode, and you're either going to love that or you're going to hate it. But I enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah. For me, it's a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd give it the same. Not my favorite. I liked Asteroid City more, but it's a very funny movie with some good performances.
Yeah. Mitski the Land.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mitski. I love her material, listened to many times, and own all of her albums. So I was looking forward to this. I would say that it's beautifully shot and performed, obviously, but the set list is kind of lacking in variety. There's a lot of like slow ballad songs, and she does have a lot of like faster paced, like more upbeat songs that I thought could have like broken it up a little bit more. And to kind of make up for this, they kind of over edit and stylize the picture to kind of make up for the fact that it's kind of like a one woman show because she's kind of doing almost like a performance art thing while she does the songs.
Yeah, there didn't really seem to be a sense of, I guess you could say, escalation in the set list, a sense of variety. It just felt like the same kind of song over and over again. And I had never seen Mitski perform, so I didn't know how animated she was.
Yeah, she's delightfully weird on the stage.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of David Byrne and stopped making sense.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I wanted you to even watch this with me because you're not as familiar with her music as I am, but I thought you might get something out of that because she does like have a a tendency to do these kind of performances.
And
There are a couple memorable set pieces like her dancing with a ray of light from the ceiling was probably the standout.
yeah, that's the best part of the movie. I've never seen a woman dance with a spotlight until now.
Yeah, and it works. The way it's choreographed and the way it's set up, it's very visually appealing to look at. Yeah, I wish there was more variety in the set list. There's some songs that I was hoping to see played, but there are a lot of new renditions of old songs that I've never heard before. So that was pretty neat for me.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You have to be a Mitski fan to know the difference in orchestration, which you did. But me, having not really heard it much, I wouldn't have known. And yeah, I had the same opinion on the editing. I didn't really like the flashy editing. They do a thing where Mitski, because she's so animated, she would put herself into one of these dynamic poses, and the camera would like freeze frame on one of those
Yeah,
poses for a few seconds in black and white. And it just felt like it disrupted the raw flow of things.
yeah. To me, it felt like the editor for Saw got his hands on the concert footage and went ham, as they say. Didn't care much for that. I thought it kind of brought down the whole thing, like just a little bit too much. I would probably give that, like, sadly, like a 6 or a 7. The performances are enjoyable, but yeah, it's just kind of like not a lot of variety in the track list and like way over stylized.
Yeah, I would say the same, 7 out of 10. Not great, but not terrible. Not even close to something like Stop Making Sense in terms of
No,
quality.
no, no.
Parental Family. So Brendan Fraser plays Philip. He's an actor living in Japan looking for work, and he stumbles upon the role of the century. He is hired by this rental family agency to be the token white guy stand in for these various Japanese families. The meat of the story comes in the form of two families. One, he plays the estranged father of this little girl, whose name is Mia, I think, and then the other is he pretends to be a journalist chronicling the life of this aging Japanese film star. So I thought this was nice.
I liked it as well. I don't think it's perfect. It's a very emotionally engaging movie, emotionally resonant. Kind of Brandon Fraser's whole deal is that he's like very insecure and unconfident in himself because he's not really getting the parts that he desires. He's trying to go in for a television show, but he's really only done like small roles or like
Toothpaste
television, yeah,
commercial.
television commercials. One of the early things we see him is he like dressed as a tree or something like that.
Mm.
Um, so him kind of finding himself and in his confidence in this foreign environment in these strange situations, like today I'm going to play the husband to this woman so she can get a phony marriage because she's actually in love with another woman but the family can't know about it.
Yeah. That was kind of the thing that surprised me most. For some reason, I thought the only job in the movie we were gonna see is him as the estranged father, quote unquote. I was actually surprised to see him take on all these other rental family jobs, and particularly the one with the aging film actor I liked.
Yeah, he gives one of the best performances of the year, I'd say. His name's Akira Yamamoto. Like somebody get this guy a supporting actor nomination because that guy brought the house down and he was totally believable. He's this retired actor and he's also got dementia and his friendship with Brendan Fraser is so nice to see and the places it goes. I was not expecting.
Yeah, I liked that in the movie, Brendan Fraser's character does something that's morally understandable but legally questionable,
Yeah.
and the movie does not shy away from that fact. There are legal consequences, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, thought he stole the entire movie.
Yeah, that was
Um,
my favorite part.
yeah, but yeah, the relationship with him and his rental daughter, they're trying to get her into a good school, and she thinks that he's actually her dad. They can't tell her the truth because of X, Y, and Z, but in the relationship that they have together is really nice. And then there's the people that work at the agency with him. They have their own little subplots going on.
Yeah. There was a pretty obvious twist revolving around the guy who runs the
Yeah.
rental family agency, but the twist was like the inverse of what I expected it to be. So they still kind of surprised me in some aspect at the end there.
Yeah, it was executed really well, and it wasn't exactly the twist that I thought it was going to be, but it was a variation on what I thought it was gonna be.
Yes, I think you and I both had the same idea about what it was.
Yeah, but I really like those characters. The movies also plays with like sense of reality, like how you can get lost in these roles. Don't get too close to them because of your emotional attachments.
Yeah, that brings up questions about the moral aspect of this agency. When is it okay to pretend? Is it doing more harm than good or more good than harm? It's a pleasant film. I feel like we don't see too many quite like this that's not animated.
Yeah, it's a very sincere movie, and that's something that I think I've said that I've missed is that we live in such a cynical, ironic society that it's nice to see something that feels genuine and sincere.
Yeah, and Brendan Fraser is like the perfect guy for this kind of thing.
Yeah, just like the most lovable guy ever. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Final number rating.
I give it like a solid 8. I wish like there was a little bit more character depth, but what it lacks in depth, it makes up in heart. And like I said, that guy rocks the house with his performance. Give that guy the Oscar.
Yeah, I think I'll give this a very, very strong 7, borderline 8. Bugonia. All right, so this one I wanted to do a full review on, but this year was kind of
Yeah, we've just gotten too far away from it.
a very, very, very busy year with us moving and me getting addicted to Expedition 33, Claire Obscure. If you played it, you understand. But yeah, this was a new film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who I think is one of the most interesting filmmakers today, and written by the gentleman who wrote The Menu. Sorry, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And it's a remake of a Korean film that I didn't know existed.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that at some point because if it's anything like as good as this or better even, then it's pretty much a must watch.
Yeah, so this one revolves around two conspiracy theorists who kidnap a CEO and try to prove that she's an alien.
Yeah, it's kind of an idea that kind of fits perfectly in our society today. We're just drenched in conspiracy every day. You can't have like a current event happen that's not being questioned by somebody. Oh well, it must be the aliens done did it, or it's the government that did it, or it's an inside job, or
Nothing,
they're crisis actors.
nothing ever just happens. Everything is a conspiracy. So, yeah, they kidnap this CEO, they cover her in antihistamine cream and shave off her hair so she can't contact her mothership. They go through all these goofy things so she cannot escape the planet, such and such. And these two conspiracy theorists also go through all the trouble of chemically castrating themselves and depriving themselves of screen time and doing everything they can so they cannot be manipulated by the alien or their or their mothership.
I've seen some people say that this movie is nihilistic and like maybe too grim for its own good or to be entertaining. Um, I do agree that it has kind of a bit of a nihilistic worldview and a very grim ending, especially, but kind of like the dark comic nature of it kind of saves it from being a depressing movie, even though I found the main character. Well, it's debatable who the main
I was
character
about to
is.
say it's the Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone show.
Yeah, I feel like Jesse Plemons is the main character,
Yeah.
and I've found him very sad.
In-
I didn't think he was. I didn't find him to be a bad person. I pitied him. I felt bad for him because what you learn about his character throughout the film, like the situation that he's in, the house that he grew up in, how he has been kind of squashed by society and the healthcare industry and these rich CEOs that do whatever they want because they have the money to do it, and how they can talk people into doing things that they shouldn't. I felt really bad for his character.
there is a genuine sympathy for him. And this was interesting to me because throughout the movie, I was wondering, does he actually believe this, that this lady is an alien? Or has he just been so thoroughly screwed in his life by society at large and by these greedy CEOs that he's just looking for something to blame?
Yeah, he's just slapping a reason on the actions that he's about to take. Yeah, I found that very interesting, and without saying too much, we've talked about knowing people personally that resemble these kind of figures in our
Yes.
Eddington review, and I got the same sense here again. But this was like taken to a further degree that it feels totally plausible to me, and again, it just inspired sympathy, just because the movie does a good job of explaining how somebody can become someone like this, and Jesse Plemons is like fantastic in the movie.
Yeah, as great as Emma Stone is, and she is phenomenal, like, she's doing the Lord's
She
work.
she knows how to deliver dialogue. She's amazing.
But, I think Jesse Plemons steals the show. So glad that his career took off the way it did.
Yeah, he was my favorite part of the movie as well.
Obviously, you're not gonna say what happens, but you know it can only end one of 2 ways. Either she's an alien or she isn't an alien. But because it's Yorgos and because it's the gentleman who wrote the menu, I have full faith in their abilities to deliver on either ending, and either one I feel like I would be happy with. And I was happy with the way it went.
Yeah, I was too. The movie kind of telegraphs where it's going through these kind of like interstitial kind of what would you even call them, like.
Oh, are you talking about every time the movie has like a sort of a ticking clock element, and
Yeah,
every time it says like 2 days till this event, it shows you what is like a diorama of a
yeah,
flat Earth.
yeah. So I always had a feeling of where the movie was going. So when the movie finally does conclude, I wasn't so much surprised like what it was doing. It was whether or not it would be executed well, and I thought it was. And again, the movie takes kind of a nihilistic stance on humanity and society at large. But I'd be lying if it wasn't one I haven't felt myself a lot lately.
If there's anything to take away from this humanity, it's that prove this movie wrong, do the right thing.
Yeah, yeah, I think that more than anything, it's like we're really, given an opportunity here to be something and do something, and it could all just go away eventually, you know?
So, final number grade on a scale of 1 to 10.
I liked it a lot. 9. I don't really have a lot of complaints about it.
Yeah, I only had one minor critique is that there's this character who is a cop who pulls Jesse Plemons over,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he has a personal history with Jesse Plemons, so his entire function of the movie is to be exposition man, and I think you can figure out very quickly how his story is going to end when he enters the scene.
Yeah, the cop is played by Stavros. I know him from the internet mainly. I think he's like a comedian. But yeah, it was fairly obvious what they were doing with his character, and it felt like he was doing a character. Like I wouldn't say his acting was bad, but it just felt like out of step with the rest of the movie. It's like I know what your character's function is here. I just wish it was like
Less obvious.
yeah, less obvious and maybe played by somebody else. That way there could be a little bit more like mystery to the character, or maybe like something kind of sinister
Yeah,
at play.
instead of us knowing exactly where this is going to go.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you remembered that because I knew there was something that I didn't care much for, and that was it.
And also, when Emma Stone is covered in that antihistamine cream and she's bald and she's white, the first thing I thought was, if they ever make a real Dragon Ball movie, there's your Frieza.
Sure, why not?
So yeah, I liked it a lot. Very strong 8. If I were to watch this again, I might increase it to a 9, but very strong 8 out of 10. I liked this a lot. Not as much as Poor Things. That's my favorite the Lanthimos
Yeah.
film thus far, but this was probably my second favorite.
Uh,
The only other one we've seen is the favorite.
yeah, I'd probably agree. I like this quite a bit. Not as much as Poor Things. Maybe more than the favorite. Although Olivia Colman,
Okay, so The Housemaid. Sydney Sweeney plays Millie. She's this girl who's out on parole, who's looking for work, and she gets hired to be the housemaid for this crazy person played by Amanda Seyfried. This is a movie you can't really say much about without ruining something. This damn thing was a lifetime original film on a budget.
yeah, this movie is terrible
Yes.
until it's not.
Yeah, the first hour of this
Yeah, I'd
thing
say the
actually
first like hour 10 minutes or so of
is
this
and
movie.
it's embarrassingly dreadful with the worst dialogue you've ever heard. Don't you know those two have an airtight prenuptial agreement? That kind of thing, just
Yeah,
really on the nose, inorganic dialogue that nobody would ever
it's
say.
supposed to be kind of like a pulpy, trashy, like you said, like lifetime original movie, but on a much bigger budget with actors, supposedly.
Yeah,
It does have Amanda Seyfried acting her ass off here. She's far and away, I think, the most enjoyable thing about the movie.
yeah. However, I think she is simultaneously great and terrible.
How so?
I think she's way, way, way overdoing it.
I think she understands the assignment.
You think so?
It's a Paul Feig joint, and I really think he's going for, like I said, that kind of trashy, over the top popcorn shoved in your face, turn your brain off. You're just watching chaos unfold on the screen type of movie.
Like, for the first hour of the movie, she has two characteristics. She's evil and she's crazy, and that's it. That's all she has to work with. And she plays the hell out of it. She goes way overboard.
Yeah, she gets it. The weak link is Sydney Sweeney. She is given nothing to do.
She delivers every line of dialogue totally flat, and then she has these hilarious moments of narration between sequences where she's supposed to be progressively more and more impacted by the events going on because she's literally living with a crazy person, but she delivers every narration with the same flat tone, the same level of disengagement every time, and it does not feel like she's progressing in any way.
No, they're supposed to be like journal entries, like a diary. But yeah, they're just delivered so flatly, and they serve no purpose other than to be exposition. Because we will get a lot more of that as we enter the third act of the movie. But one of my big problems with her character is that, like, Amanda Seyfried has all these outbursts and starts blaming her for everything. And the situations that she's being blamed for, like, she 9 times out of 10 has absolutely nothing to do with, and can be easily proven that she didn't do, or she didn't have anything to do with, or she didn't cause. But she just kind of sits there apologizing the whole time. It's like, I understand you need a job, but my God, like, are you ever gonna stand up for yourself? Like, are you just gonna stand there all stone faced while, and then Brandon Sklenar, the hunky husband, comes in to fix everything? You can't really say too much about this movie without like kind of ruining something, but his character I was also like kind of indifferent towards until I wasn't.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked him in the first hour. I was very amused by how cheesy he was.
Oh yeah, yeah, just kind of a side thing, that has nothing to do with this, or anything to do with this. He is like a popular fan cast to play like the new Batman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what would you think of that
I
after seeing this
I have
movie?
to watch something else to really make that determination because he's playing a lifetime character, and it's very hard
Yeah,
to
I
gauge.
gotta say, seeing like his character's progression through this, I think I would love to see that. But that's also kind of one of the problems is like from the very first scene involving the three principal characters, I knew exactly where this movie was going. Exactly where it was going. Right down to like the character motivations and where the movie was going to end up, how the climax was going to work. I had it all mapped in my head, so I was just waiting for all the pieces to fall into place. Like,
Literally.
yeah, and even though I had the whole thing figured out, seeing the way the third act was executed, it brought me completely around to. I don't know if I'd say enjoying this, but I was glad I watched it.
Yeah, if nothing else, I laughed a lot throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's for that first hour and like 10 minutes, it's so bad, but it's so laughable as well. But then the third act and climax really does deliver on the tone that they're going for in a totally crazy, unhinged performances from everybody. Even Sydney Sweeney gets something to do finally.
Yeah, I don't know if the movie is in on the joke or if it just accidentally falls into satirical brilliance, but I'd say overall this was a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking four for a while, or even a three, but they really pulled it off in the end, and got me up to a six as well.
Finally, Avatar: Fire and Ash. All right, so the battle rages on between the blue people and the sky people. Colonel Quaritch is on a mission to bring in Jake Sully and his biological son Spider, but Spider has been adopted by the Na'vi and everyone accepts him except for Neytiri, who is racist and a hypocrite. And Spider has figured out a way to live among the Na'vi without a mask, which is potentially beneficial utility for the Sky People. So the Sky People are on a quest to get Spider and do experiments on him and find a way to reverse engineer this so every human can
Yeah,
mass colonize.
yeah. So Giovanni Ribisi's like, well, if Spider can breathe the air here, why can't all of us?
Yeah, Giovanni Ribisi is just back all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, he never went anywhere. I think he was just banished from wherever he was before.
And so the Na'vi are trying to hide Spider. They try to hide him among the Wind Traders, but that gets thwarted. And along the way, they fall into conflict with this Fire Tribe leader, Varang, I think her name is.
Yeah, it's Varang or Varang. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it's Varang.
Colonel Quaritch forms a kind of alliance with Varang, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this movie ends in a giant battle between the Sky People and the Blue People.
I mean, it's only how the last two movies have ended, so.
This movie does all the things you expect it to do, and yet I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's The Way of Water Part 2. It picks up like exactly where that movie left off, and that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing because it's not really doing anything you haven't seen before, but it's doing the things that it's doing at such a high level that it's hard to fault it.
I think that if James Cameron wants to continue making these, and he does, he has at least two more of these planned. He really needs to shake things up with the next one plot wise because for as much as I enjoyed it, and I really didn't like the first one, I enjoyed the second one immensely. I really think he needs to shake things up because if he is just gonna do two more of the same thing of just tumultuous relationship between humans and the Navi that results in a giant battle in the end, then it's just repetitious and derivative, and it's probably going to start to wear out its welcome. And if I had a criticism other than that, it's that in the third act of this movie, during the big battle, it does start to kind of wear on you.
Yeah, the last one was like 3 hours and 12 minutes. This one is even longer by like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, 3 hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah, this one, I actually felt like there was a few sequences that for sure could have been chopped out.
Yes.
There's a lot of times when characters are like captured or they're being held captive, and there's like a deal that's going to be made, like, oh, you trade this person for this person and we'll work out a deal, or they have to free themselves and escape. Like there's a few too many of those scenes. I feel like we could have streamlined it a little bit. I did like that this one focused on the parents more. The last one was about the children, and this one is kind of about the parents. Jake and Neytiri lost their son in the last one, so this one deals with their grief and the fallout from that. You said Neytiri is a racist, and that's 100% true. And I like that he's willing to kind of take those risks with his main characters.
Yes.
It was interesting to see kind of that conflict and her go through that and have some kind of awakening or realization. Like Jake is basically a human, so how racist can she be against him? She's basically married to one.
That's the thing that really sets these second and third entries apart from the first, because the first one, all the characters are cardboard, and he does a good job of giving them some extra dimension in two and three. The funniest one being that in the first movie, I thought Colonel Quaritch was a one-dimensional, boring-ass villain, very well played by Stephen Lang. I think he's my favorite character in the entire series.
He's really great. Um, and again, they're not doing anything new with this character that we haven't seen, but it's played so well and it's executed so well. In this movie, he's basically having his Sully arc from the first movie. Like now, Quaritch is having it.
Yeah, he's going native.
He's stuck in his Navi body, so now he's kind of slowly going native over time, and that's kind of the back and forth between Jake and Quaritch. It's like, dude, you got to realize there's more to this place and more to these people than just resources and money and bringing me in. You said Quaritch is like your favorite character in this whole series now. I'm not sure who my favorite character would be, but Varang, man, I don't know what you thought about Varang, but I thought she was amazing.
I thought she was insanely cool. Great design, great performance from Una Chaplin.
Una Chaplin.
And there
Man,
there was a scene involving psychedelics and an alliance that brought a big ass smile to my face.
yeah, they go on their like peyote drug trip, and she's got like this weird kind of like dominatrix, like psychedelic kind of vibe about her. She like blows that shit in your nose and makes you trip out. A really great, fun character to watch. I wish we got more of her because she kind of gets sidelined after they come together and it becomes more about Quaritch as the opposing force.
Yeah, I thought they were setting her up to be the main villain of the movie, but after Quaritch and her align, she basically becomes sidelined and fades into the background. I'm assuming they did that so they can set her up for sequels. But Quaritch goes on to dominate the rest of the movie as the
Yeah,
primary foe again.
yeah, and he probably should for the story that they're telling.
Yeah, his
Um,
arc is pretty important.
Yeah, I do think that they are kind of setting them up to be this power couple in the next one. So I would love to see where that goes. I just want to see that character again.
And I was also very pleasantly surprised with a certain moral dilemma that Jake Sully is faced with regarding the character of Spider, and he makes a choice that I did not expect him to make.
Yeah, it's hard to really talk about because it's like an insanely spoilery, but again, it's James Cameron playing with his characters and daring to take them to uncomfortable places and have them make morally questionable choices. Yeah, I like the way they explored that. I like the way the characters develop, where they end up. It's realistic, I think, for these characters to have those kind of feelings after what happened in the last one, and it's nice to see them actually delivered on.
Yeah, and there's a hell of a lot more thought put into their journeys as characters in this one than was in the first one. The first one is just special effects extravaganza, and I've watched it numerous times, and it just doesn't get better. It's so mediocre. But ultimately, I'm glad he continued this Avatar experiment. I don't think they're great movies because I have never felt the urge to rewatch two or three. But they're great experiences.
Even like the 3D, like James Cameron is apparently the only guy in the world that knows how to do this.
I don't like 3D, but I'm not gonna lie, it is really cool the way he utilizes it. Unfortunately, I think it makes the film feel more like a really advanced theme park attraction than anything else, but
Well,
he's unparalleled in this field.
yeah, even the use of the high frame rate, it's not something that I like in any of my movies. But here it doesn't bother me because it's used to prop up the 3D experience because he understands how it works and how the brain like responds to the images. He understands movies and how to make them and again what audiences respond to. For all the flaws and critiques people throw at him, these things make a ton of money. So
I always say, like, I think he's a master of simplicity.
yeah, yeah, there's nothing overly complex about the characters or the themes even. And you could say that about pretty much all his movies, but he is one of the best at doing that. Like you said, he is a master of simplicity. Like keep it simple, stupid.
So, what is your final number grade on a scale of 1 to 10?
I didn't like it as much as two.
I think I do like 2 better too,
Yeah, I'd certainly like two better, just because it felt more fresh.
and more structurally sound,
Yeah, yeah, and
narratively cohesive.
yeah, this one feels like more of the same. It's a continuation of the last one, but it's a good continuation. I like the characters. I like where they're going. I want to see more of them. So I'd give it like a solid 8.
Yeah, I think I would say the same. Very much enjoyed it. Please, Jim, do something a little different next time. All right, well, that's about it.